we go to New York. Bad enough they're dealing with the excessive racism and the cop hating that's just coming from the elected officials.
He ain't lying.
Worthless Governor Kathy Hochul has deployed over 1,000 National Guard
What the fuck?
to New York City subways, to make the people feel safer.
Ooh.
But that would have nothing to do with the urban crime and the illegals, would it?
Because you're wrong, okay? So shut up.
Nah. I'm Jasper Gonzo, and this.
Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
It's What's Next. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jasper Gonzo. What's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Thursday. We creep ever closer to the end of the week, and of course, that's always a good thing. Yesterday, I did a video about a woman who wanted to show her appreciation to the NYPD so much that she ran one of them over and then told them to go fuck themselves. But that is just a symptom of the overall mess that is New York under one Governor Kathy Hochul, who was running around wearing a pandemic pin, plandemic pin, let me correct myself, and saying, get your booster on. I could just stop it right there. But no, we must go forward. So she's got a plan. How do we stop the urban crime and illegals that have flooded the city, that have flooded the state like no other time in the last 30 years? How do we combat this? Do we put forth a new policy? Do we have, community advisement? Do we get in touch with the faith community? To have local police interact? Do we have more interaction that way? No. I'm going to deploy 1,000 National Guard down to the New York subways because, nothing says National Guard deployment in a small confined space. Smells like martial law, doesn't it? And here we go. This coming from the New York Post. Worthless Governor Kathy Hochul deploys 1,000 National Guardsmen, state cops to carry out bag checks in New York City subways. Yes. Sounds like freedom, doesn't it? Not really. But before we show the video, let's a little background. Hundreds of National Guard troops began flooding the city subways Wednesday as part of a crime-fighting plan suddenly implemented and unveiled by one Kathy Hochul following a series of attacks on the ground. You sure? It's not just the entire city, it's just the subways? Yeah. The governor defended the major show of force, not seen since the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, as even a better way to help New York City solve the crisis. Excuse me. These brazen attacks, heinous attacks on our subway system will not be tolerated. Oh, she said that and she's mad. Hochul declared the MTA Transit Rail Control Center in Midtown, pointing to last week's random slashing of a train conductor and other recent acts of violence. In total, 750 National Guardsmen and 250 state and MTA cops will help the NYPD patrol the city's busiest transit stations and check commuter bags, Hochul said. Adding to the initiative came after meetings with another worthless politician, Mayor Eric Adams, MTA officials, and the NYPD last week. The announcement over her 5-point plan to combat transit crime in the days after Adams, who was noticeably absent from the governor's presence, I wonder why, has already revealed the NYPD would be enhancing back checks and stepping up to its presence stepping up its presence in the system. Of course, you can see right there, that just bestows confidence. Yes, because it's bad enough there are a shitload of hour delays in New York City subway transit systems alone. Let's just add more. And why not? Oof. Still, the governor pinned her deployment on a wider safety crackdown of the brutal February 26 slashing of an MTA conductor in Brooklyn and a 64-year-old postal worker being kicked into the tracks at Penn Station over the weekend. No one heading to their job or visiting their family or to a doctor appointment should worry that a person sitting next to them possesses a deadly weapon, she said. They shouldn't worry about whether someone's going to brandish a knife or gun. That's what we're going to do with these checkpoints. You get them, Kathy. In addition to the spate of high-profile attacks, the subway system clocked 3 murders between January 14th and February 23rd, a tally that would have exceeded the annual homicide count for many of the years into the run-up of the pandemic. While subway crime rates spiked 45% in January compared to the same month last year, Adams on Wednesday touted a double-digit drop, 15% for February, which he tied in part to switching the NYPD on a 12-hour patrols and to boost coverage underground. Overall, for the year, crime is up in the subways 13%, according to most recent NYPD statistics. Crime suggests that Hochul was showboating with a dramatic plan, and some calling it off the cuff and an overreach. You think? And others insisting that the unprecedented move to deploy hundreds of guardsmen was totally unnecessary.
Tax. I'm unveiling a 5-point plan to rid our subways of people who commit crimes and to protect all New Yorkers, whether you're a commuter or a transit worker. Point 1. I'm redeploying nearly 1,000 members of the New York State Police, MTA Police, and MTA National Guard to conduct bag checks in the city's busiest transit stations. You'll start seeing them at the tables, making sure that weapons are not being brought in, working in concert with our New York State Police, as well as our NYPD.
Don't mind her. She was drinking before she
Because
started
no
reading.
one heading to their job or to visit family or to go to a doctor appointment should worry that the person sitting next to them possesses a deadly weapon.
My thoughts. A once great city like New York has turned into a complete shithole. You know, like its sister in San Francisco. Total shithole. Or LA, you know, whichever one you want to go with. Excuse me. The fact of the matter is that crime has exploded. Urban crime, illegal activity has just blew up over the last 3 to 4 years. Ever since the pandemic, when you had former governor Andrew Cuomo, who allowed almost 18,000 senior citizens to basically die, and their family members just watched them die because of no interaction, to what we have now with Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul has been worthless as a governor. And sadly, the citizens of New York are paying for it. When you have shoplifting exploded, what is it, like 1,000% in the last 3 years to the likes we haven't seen? Urban crime in general, black on black crime. You know, of course, you won't hear the elected officials of New York say that because, of course, they don't want to be called, racists and bigots. But we all know why we're doing this. She knows exactly what she's doing by deploying the National Guard. And when you only have one state legislator come out and say, hey, you know what, it's a little excessive. You know, it's a overreach. You would have thought there would have been a bunch of them would have been coming out. Now, of course, it was convenient that Eric Adams wasn't present because, of course, like I said, if he went to a funeral, hey, I understand. But you would have the lieutenant mayor, his number 2, should have been standing right by her side to represent. No. You have 35,000 NYPD, the biggest police force on earth. Can't handle that? They can't handle the subways. So you got to send National Guard to the subways, that kind of presence. Because, of course, everybody who travels the world's biggest transit system, and, of course, running around in sardine tubes all day long, that's what they want to see when they roll up to get on or to get off. Because it just all makes sense. Instead of actually doing policies that actually work, and work with communities that, that they feel that their politicians actually give a fuck. But we all know what reality we live in, and they just don't give a fuck. So, anyway, any other country outside seeing this will either laugh or go, hey, you know what? We do the same thing, except we do it with a little bit more gusto, Someone acts up, we cut them off at the knees. We don't need to bring in additional troops. Additional, guardsmen down. We just take care of our own business. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue to spread the word about the show, help it continue to grow, and we'll see you next time. Peace.